This tutorial will explore the scanning features and settings available in version 2.2 and higher of the chat software. Chat software is found on the Saltillo NovaChats and Chat Fusion devices. The features I will explore are developed specifically for individuals using switch scanning as their alternative access method to communication. If a client is unable to use the touchscreen accurately or reliably, or if it causes a great deal of fatigue to do so, switch scanning may be an appropriate access method for them. Chat software version 2.2 added many new features that allow us to fine-tune the scanning experience for the individual, including the ability to adapt the patterns, the timing, and visual effects to assist with scanning. Finding the right fit through these features can make all the difference for the client. This tutorial will focus on scanning options. Our systems offer direct access, use of a keyguard, or switch scanning. The Chat Fusion also offers the option to add head pointing with the chat point. These options are explored in other tutorials. The hardware and software on the NovaChats and Chat Fusion will allow for single or dual switch scanning, as well as setting the screen to be used as a switch. A nice feature with scanning is the ability to wake up the device with the switch activation. Chat Fusion also offers the ability to wake up on a screen touch within the settings. First, I will be describing the switch methods, then offer a demo, and finally walk through the setup. I will be using NovaChat devices and Chat Fusion for the demonstrations. Single switch scanning. What is it? One switch is connected through port A on the device. Depending on how the settings are managed will determine when the client will need to activate the switch. One example will be an auto scan setup in which an indicator moves through all the configured options at a speed preset to suit the client. When the required item is highlighted, the individual presses a switch and that item is selected. The screen may also be set up as a single switch. If the user can accurately hit the switch when they want to, then single switch scanning can be a quick and easy selection method and requires the identification of only one reliable switch site. Considerations with single switch scanning require the client to anticipate the timing of a scan and be able to activate the switch with consistency. With the concentration and physical control required, it may be important to adjust the speed of the scan to meet the needs of the client. This demo will use a new file being introduced with version 2.4 software. The file is called Basic Scan and we use a single switch with a linear pattern. We can wake the device up with the switch activation. The settings are already set up with a one switch and linear pattern.
I want to read a book. Turn the page. What is that? Can we talk? Are you listening? Yay, I like that.
Two switch scanning. Two switches are connected through ports A and B on the device. The screen may also function as one switch in place of a ported switch. There are many variations to setting up two switch scanning, but basically pressing one switch progresses the indicator systematically through the options available. When the desired item is highlighted, the user presses a second switch to select the item. Hence, one switch is the move switch and the other is the select or get switch. This demo will use WordPower 20 simply with two switches in a row-column pattern. I can use the switch to wake up the device, or on the Chat Fusion I can touch the screen to wake it up.
I like to read. Story. Stories. I like to read stories. Do you? Like. To read. Story. Stories. Do you like to read stories?
Just to show how other settings might look, here is another demo using two switches with word power 60 and a block pattern.
What will we do? Next. What will we do next? Mom. Watch. Me. Mom, watch me. This. Is. Fun. This is fun.
Let's take a look at setting up the scanning system. I will move through the features of the single switch setup first, then dual switch. First, I will connect one switch in port A on the device. Next, I need to turn scanning on. Tap Menu, Settings, Input, scroll down to Scanning, select and check the Enable Scanning box. Scanning has been enabled, and now we need to take a look at other features the client might benefit from, such as switch access, auditory prompts, patterns, and timing. We are using one switch, so we tap Switch Access, Switch Configuration, and select One Switch. We have connected one switch and selected the One Switch option. Auto Scan is most likely checked by default settings. If you want the user to be able to hit the one switch to start the scan and allow the software to advance without holding the switch down, you would check Auto Scan. However, if you do not check Auto Scan, the user would hold their switch down until they get to the desired item and then release. Where they land will be the selected button. This example will use word power 48 with a row column pattern with a single switch with Auto Scan on.
I. Feel. Happy. I feel happy.
I will set up a dual switch scan using the word power 48 and again row column. I need to connect a switch to port B and change my settings.
I love it. I love it.
Next, I will discuss auditory prompts. Does a client need auditory prompts? Are they visually impaired? Do they perform optimally with auditory feedback as well as visual feedback? If yes, then auditory prompts might be a fit. The chat software offers customization of how the prompts are heard. The auditory prompts may be played through a speaker, earphone, or pillow speaker. The prompt may be heard as a scanning beep or may be a label or message. The label or message can be customized through the Scan Editor, which is part of the device chat software. Please see the Scan Editor tutorial. To set up auditory prompts, we tap Menu, Settings, Input, Scanning, Auditory Prompts, and we will enable auditory prompts. I have the option to select whether the auditory prompt is heard through the device speaker or through an earphone or pillow speaker. For this example, I will select the speakers. Tap Audio Output Device and select Desired Option. One prompt option is for scanning beep. As the system scans, a beep will be provided through the auditory channel selected.
I want to play with cars. Crash.
If you want it to speak a button prompt, do not check the option and select Button Prompt, and then select either Speak Label or Speak Message. Typically, we will speak label rather than the entire message. Tap Menu, Settings, Input, Scanning, Auditory Prompts, uncheck Scanning Beep, select Button Prompt, and Speak Label.
I want. Speech display bar. To eat. Speech display bar. Crackers. Candy. Pudding. Speech display bar. I want to eat pudding.
If using auditory scanning, I can have it beep as each block, row, or button is scanned, or have it speak the label or message on the button. I can also name a block or row to create a meaningful auditory prompt. This is covered in the Scan Editor tutorial. Finally, I can select a different voice for the auditory prompt versus the actual message once someone composes their message. Tap Menu, Settings, Input, Scanning, Auditory Prompts, Voice Settings, and select the desired voice.
Hello, my name. I want. Categories. Social. Hello.
Hello.
Speech display bar.
The next thing I can adjust will be the scanning pattern, also called scanning array. The chat software version 2.2 and higher will offer scanning pattern options. These options include linear, row column, block, and flow. Let's take a look. Menu, Settings, Input, Scanning, Patterns, Mode, and I'll select Linear. Linear scans each button one by one. This demo is using Vocab PC with a linear pattern and one switch.
I want to. Relax by doing something I like. I want to relax by doing something I like.
Menu, Settings, Input, Scanning, Patterns, Mode, and select Row Column. Row column scanning is quicker than linear, however may require a higher cognitive load. Items to be scanned, that is, the keys or cells, are arranged in a grid. The rows of the grid are indicated one at a time. When the row containing the desired item is highlighted, the user presses a switch. The indicator then moves along the row, key by key.
Turn.
When the desired item is highlighted, the user presses again and the item is selected. This demo uses WordPower 60 with a row column pattern.
Play. My turn to play.
Menu, Settings, Input, Scanning, Patterns, Mode, Block. Block scanning is even quicker than row column because you get to the desired button that much quicker. Items in the grid are divided into blocks of buttons. They might be 3 by 4 or 6 by 5, or however you decide to arrange them. The blocks are indicated one at a time. When the block containing the desired item is highlighted, the user presses a switch. Typically, the indicator, or the highlight, then moves through the block with a row column pattern, button by button, until they get to the desired item, and the user hits the switch to select at each level. When I am in the block setting, I can decide I want the pattern to continue in blocks or switch to row column within the block. This demo will use with a single switch and a block pattern with row column within the blocks.
Idea. Good idea.
Flow. This is a method recently developed by Saltillo. Mathematically, it gives you all the buttons on the page at the same rate, that is, switch hits plus time taken into consideration. It does not have consistency. This might be a benefit to clients that watch their target and can activate the switch when the target within the group is highlighted. Optimization is another feature that I'm going to turn on that will make the flow optimized mathematically. Tap Menu, Settings, Input, Scanning, Patterns, Mode, and Flow, and we will also turn on optimization.
Listen. To music. Turn. It on.
Within the Scanning Patterns menu, I have several other options I can select. Tap Menu, Settings, Input, Scanning, and Patterns. Scan SDB. Do we want to scan the speech display bar? When the box is checked, the SDB will be scanned. This will depend on the client's preferences and needs. Scan the Clear button. If I have this enabled, it will also scan the X in the SDB. If a client has a clear button on every page, they may not need to scan this item on the screen. Skip empty areas. 90% of the time you would want it to skip empty buttons if you have used the Hide Show button feature or there are locations on the page that have not yet been programmed. The features related to scan timing can be adjusted in this section. These settings can be very important to the success of the scanning setup. Adjusting the speed incrementally to find the best speed can make all the difference for your client. To configure this, you will go to Menu, Settings, Input, Scanning, Scan Timing, Scan Speed, and we will set the scan speed. Next, we can look at number of rescans. If the individual repeatedly misses their selection, you may want it to rescan multiple times so that they can try it again. The default is set to 2. This may be adjusted based on the client's need. If you find you are needing a large number of rescans, then you may want to look at slowing down the scanning rate or changing the pattern. Another option is activation delay. If an individual accidentally hits the switch on the wrong block or row, they can hit their switch again with a certain amount of time, the activation delay, to cancel that selection and keep going. Individuals may anticipate and accidentally hit too quickly, or someone could just change their mind about what they were going to select. And finally, we have Auto Restart. When Auto Restart is checked and the client makes the desired button selection, the scanning will restart automatically. If it is not checked, they would need to hit their switch to start scanning again. Visual effects. Chat Software version 2.2 introduced some new visual effect options. These options can aid the user to see their options as they are scanned. The visual effects can be used individually or in combination. Note that visual effect options become available when scanning is enabled. Tap Menu, Settings, Input, Visual Effects. Check the outline option and then you can select outline color and the width. The default is red. I will increase the outline width to 15.
Oui. Shed. Go. Out. Side. We should go outside.
Tap Menu, Settings, Input, Visual Effects, and Translucent Overlay. I can add translucent overlay along with the outline option. The entire scan pattern is highlighted in a thin layer of color. This might be a nice option with word power because it's such a colorful vocabulary. You can also adjust the degree or percentage opacity as well as the color of the overlay. I will go with the defaults.
Like. It. Do you like it?
Tap Menu, Settings, Input, Visual Effects, Outline is checked, and we'll check Invert Colors. Invert Colors will highlight the entire scanning pattern with the inverse of the current colors. This may make it easier for the user to see. I will provide two demo combinations. First, the combination will be with the outline color and invert colors, then with outline, translucent overlay, and invert colors.
Is. Fine. This is fine.
Now we will add the translucent overlay. Tap Menu, Settings, Input, Visual Effects, check Translucent Overlay and Invert Colors.
This. Is. Good. This is good.
Our next visual option is Magnify. Tap Menu, Settings, Input, Visual Effects, check Magnify and set magnification multiplier to 300%. The active area is magnified as it moves through the scan pattern. You can select the percentage under Magnify Multiplier. The vocabulary scanning pattern will also impact how the magnification appears. For example, in block scanning, if the magnification is large, the group of buttons will be stacked. It is possible to magnify to fill the entire screen with one button. This example will be with 4 basic and a linear pattern.
I want to play with my ball. I want to play with my ball.
This example will be with word power 48 and a row column pattern and adjusting the magnification to 120%.
I need some help. I need some help.
Another visual option available is Animate Effects. This will animate the active visual effect. This example will use word power 48 with a block pattern.
That. Is. Good. That is good.
As you can see, there are many options available for users that benefit from a switch access method. Many vocabulary options are available, but also will need customized to fit the client needs. Adjusting settings, patterns, and visual effects can make a huge difference for the individual using switch access for their AAC system. Profiles. It is going to be important to set up a profile with the desired settings once you get them where you want them. You can save multiple profiles for various users, access methods, and settings. You will first create a profile for the user with their settings. Go to Menu, Settings, Profiles, New, give the profile a name, tap Save. The next step would be to save the current settings in a profile. Menu, Settings, Profiles, and Save. Select the profile name you want and then save. For more information about other alternative access options and features offered with Saltillo devices and chat software, please visit these alternative access tutorials. Thank you for joining us. For more information, please visit us at saltillo.com. You can keep up with Saltillo by signing up for our newsletter. We hope you will join us on social media and other tutorials.